Hey everyone, this is Alaska from the Call Out Culture podcast. I'm talking today because I want to talk about Anchor, which is the podcast hosting site that we use. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, it's something you should definitely look into. One, because of the great price, it's free. There's also creation tools that allow you to record, edit your podcast. You can do it right from your phone or your computer. Now you can even add songs from like Spotify directly into your episodes. So there's like endless possibilities on what you could create, and whether it's like music analysis or your own radio show or something that nobody's ever done before or the world's never heard before. Anchor will also help distribute your podcast so you can be heard on all of the major podcast carriers, including Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, blah, 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 all the other ones. You should definitely look into this. You can also make money. There's no minimum listenership. You can do advertising. You can do sponsorships. It's basically everything you need to make your podcast in one place. So do yourself a favor. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm and get yourself started. Thanks again for listening to Call Out Culture.
Welcome to Call Out Culture podcast with Alaska, Curly Castro, and Zilla Rock.
Welcome to another episode of your mama's favorite podcast.
Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-bamba.
Call Out
Sha-la-la-la-la-la-bamba. Sha-bla-sha-bla-la. Lopito Campato.
Did you guys see the movie La Bamba when it came out?
I love La Bamba.
Yeah, of course.
Somehow I saw that in the theater. I was like 5.
No, let me tell you what La Bamba is. La Bamba is any horny adolescent or teenager's like first foray. Because he's fucking that chick against the tree. So like that,
good call.
that's in the beginning. And I remember watching that over and over. I was like, oh, he having sex with the girl against a tree. So I remember watching it before I learned like that this guy, Richie Valens, was like a real guy.
Yeah.
I thought it was just one of those, rock and roll movies about the coming of age.
When he died.
Yeah. Him and
Buddy Holly.
Yeah, Buddy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you watch that movie and then you see pictures of Richie Valens, it's like the greatest difference in the width of somebody's head.
Who, him
that
and
could possibly
Lou
happen.
Diamond
So,
Phillips?
Lou Diamond Phillips, skinny ass head, and Richie Valens like.
Shouts to Richie
And the
Valens.
funny thing is, was Richie Valens like purely Mexican? Was he all the way Mexican?
I think so, yeah.
Because that's what I'm saying. Lou Diamond Phillips, he's Latino, but he's not Mexican, and I think that's where the facial differences come. Like,
Richie's got a.
Also, Hollywood was not really going to let somebody that look like
Richie Valens
be the star of a movie.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
because because he's like way safer. Looking,
I just remember,
even though he's from Blood In and Blood Out, he was in Blood In and Blood Out. Gangsta as hell, right?
Yes. Yo, I just remember the whole time I'm watching that movie being like, can they just sing the song? I just want to hear the song.
Yeah, and I remember not knowing these are real musicians, and I was like, "Damn, Plain Access." I was flying in the '80s, so I remember in Alaska to Texas, Plain Accidents got to like a high level, like it was like happening, like not a lot, but enough. We were like, "Oh!" And me and my mom literally stopped flying, and it was like one a month, a little bit going like that, and like
dude, Aesop has that song. Remember on
What song
we
about?
We talked about when we did Lineage of Greatness on the Uncluded. He has
a
song about he and his homie is at his crib in Long Island in the 80s, and his friend is in his house, and his parents die on an airplane that crashes. They find out in the news about it.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time in the 80s it was kind of precarious because it was still like, hey, my plane too. It wasn't random enough where it was like percentages now, like 1 out of 10,000 planes type thing could have a malfunction. But now they can land the planes. But back then in the 80s, it was like, you sure you want to fly? Like that type
planes
of
were constantly overshooting the runway.
Oh yeah, it was like the way they
especially in like I think was it LaGuardia or JFK?
Yes,
the one that,
it was
goes
one
into
of
the water off
one of
the
them
runway.
were like, and then RZ. Then you got to try to
TV
remember last
on 10. TV on 10 on the.
Then there were multiple planes that would crash into the World Trade Center. A lot of single engine like Cessnas. They would clip it. Like it wouldn't be like as drastic, but they would clip it or like.
Jesus.
I remember one plane ran into it, but it just was like in that wall, in that floor, and they got it out and all that stuff.
That's crazy.
So plane stuff wasn't like,
yo,
oh man,
pilots in the 80s were
Oakland,
wild sus. They were very sus. God damn.
I mean, think about how much everybody just drank back then.
Oh my God.
Like, right? Like, how drunk did you have to be to get pulled over for drunk driving back then?
You had to be like doing figure eights.
1.93.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh no, yeah. Well, the legal limit was way low.
Because now it's 0.084.
Yeah, but it was way.
Well, back then, drunk driving was the shit. No one cared. Don't even talk about
it. And you could drink at 18.
Yeah, I forgot they changed the drinking age.
Yeah.
Wait, but the drinking, but you couldn't go to a bar. You couldn't go outside the bar.
Right? Yeah, you could.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you were 18.
80s were
which
gross.
meant that it was real easy for like 16-year-olds to drink.
But that's what I'm saying.
I was 18, 19 drinking every weekend when the limit
that's
was.
What I'm saying.
What was the difference? Wait, smoking was 21 back in the day.
No,
right?
smoking,
16.
Smoking.
So I'm trying to remember. I thought there was a gap between smoking.
They smack your ass and gave you a pack of Marlboro Reds.
I thought there was a gap between the smoking and the drinking. Like that 3 years. I thought, or maybe it's driving. Something is different between 18 and the 21.
It makes sense.
Not back then, I don't think.
No, not back then.
It makes sense to say you could legally drink the same year you could legally vote and then go in the military. But
I mean, it does make
physiologically, you're so underdeveloped at 18 than you are at 21. You know what I mean? Like, so it doesn't line up with all the other laws. But physiologically, like if you're 18, you're basically a 16-year-old.
But the army the service is a weird thing because you're a pretty corpse. Aren't you physically more able to do? Aren't you physically more able to do armed service stuff when you're like 21, 22? Type,
because your brain still isn't fully developed when you're 18.
Yeah, I'm just saying like the physical endurance of it, as opposed to being like a pretty corpse. Like, hey, just go do it, young. Like drafting 16 and 17-year-olds, they're not going to ask many questions. They don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, 17, 18, you're not going to ask any questions.
They don't know much yet. They don't. Yeah, they don't know enough to like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
And again, killing is. We can kill him. Yeah, y'all can kill him. All right. It wasn't like
they deserve to die.
Yeah, and the different.
I mean, that's the mentality, right? That
the different nationality thing came into play. Then it was like, oh well, what are we doing here? Why are we? That was like, to me, I think it was more of a byproduct of the 80s and 90s and anti-war thing. When I was watching that thing was rough. Like that was not something you wanted to go back to.
No,
because it was so divisive. Like people. Personally invested, and then people outside looking in.
Well, this is why we are your mom's favorite podcast. This is heavy shit.
I don't want to get too deep into it, but I think having the draft makes it at least a shared responsibility. Right now, it's like a permanent underclass of soldier, right? Because there's always people that come from lower income backgrounds.
Yes,
certain families are like shouldering the burden for everybody else, and that's why we don't give a fuck about going to war anymore.
Well, I mean, the draft back in the day though was like, look, we need a certain amount of number of humans.
Oh yeah.
And we can't be waffling with people with the college exemptions. And no, we need this. Look, how old are you? What's your last name? All right, and then we'll weave down that way. I mean, it's hundreds of thousands. I mean, I wonder, watching the Vietnam, and we could stop. I just wonder what enrollment was right before that. Like right before because we just had the Korean War and World War II. So I wonder just what was looking like. Like, hey, we need to recruit like 400,000 people. Because Vietnam still is Vietnam. It's not like, it's not like the landmass of Russia or, some where you're like, oh, we need a lot of men. So it was just pretty interesting, the mental dynamic back then. Especially with all the racial stuff still going on. Like, how can that make it easier? You know what I mean?
I mean, the crazy thing is it was almost a 20-year war.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like there was a long time before.
There were cats that went up to Canada and they couldn't just stay up there for like, a few months.
They were
decades. Some of them had to get residency.
Yeah, they become citizens.
Yeah, because they were up there so long. It was just like, because first, all right, so you go up there and you got to be up there for the length of the war, which is about 4 or 5 years, right? Actively, right? So that's a good chunk, man. And you just coming out of college, you might have changed your whole life, trajectory by what you experienced in them first 4 years out of school.
I mean, if everyone just known, you could have just said you had bone spurs in your feet. You've been set.
Oh, I mean, but
that's the Donnie.
But also, funny. But back then, it's like, no, I'm a proud American. I'm healthy. You know what I'm saying? I could live. I got a dumbbell in my basement.
I just got these bone spurs, or else I'd be out there.
What I'm saying?
But people weren't really like anti that shit until like later in the 60s, I don't think.
Like they didn't know what
you started seeing everybody
doctor
coming home in body bags
to say like, hey, like I'm pretty sure asthma wasn't on the list, but then. They'd let people ride, but then, maybe it was, you see what I'm saying? Like they were letting a lot of things go. I'm saying that. Like they was letting a lot of things go. But Anyway, y'all.
Wow.
We went a little
Vietnam talk today. On the
Vietnam talk for the Patreons.
The shit.
This is what the Patreons give us the money for every month to hear us talk
we've
about.
Just changed military history.
Just to give a little 3-minute spiel on the shit.
Hardcore history got nothing on us.
Yeah. Call out culture, indie rap, and Vietnam chat every
Well,
week.
at least we know who was doing those rap history battles. Because wouldn't it be like King Jong-un versus like
King
Ho Chi Minh or something?
Yeah,
so
it would be all
it would be Ho Chi Minh.
It
would be Ho Chi Minh, Alaska. One of them would be Ho Chi Minh, yo.
Yeah.
So Zilla, they take these historical things and they have rap battles, but they make it like a historical. Hold on, let me explain.
I don't want to.
And they pick the historical.
No, I'm good.
So like it'd be like
pretty good though.
No, some of them real cheesy, but they'll have like
some of them are, but some of them are good.
They'll have like Tutankhamun.
This is like Celebrity Deathmatch or something.
It is, but it's not as funny. But they'll have like Tutankhamun versus like.
When you say it's not as funny as Celebrity,
no, it's not. No, all right. So one time they did Thomas Edison versus Tesla, and it was really nerdy, and it really was really tested me because I know that alternating current, and I was like, all right.
I just wanted to drink beer and talk about our album. I don't want to talk about Tesla versus Edison rap battle.
I think nerd rap is a good segue into the record.
It was battle about alternating current.
Alternating current. That's funny. That's a good one.
Let me stop. Hold on. Give me a second. I need it. IR time.
Alternate. Yeah.
But no, because they would go so historical that the rhyme would be so bad. So like they would go.
This is
the Louisiana Purchase, and they.
Is this like what the Hamilton is Hamilton about? This
yes.
See, I'm out. This is why I can't.
It'd be like I remember one was like George Washington versus like Robert E. Lee or something. It was like that.
This is when I get really offended as an MC. Like I don't even talk about shit like this, but this is when I get really, really mad when shit like this.
All right, so what about Hip Hop Harry? Same difference, different meaning.
I don't even know what that is.
What is it?
That's Hip Hop Harry, the big rapping bear.
I don't even. I heard this a long time ago, but I'm good. I want to talk about our shit. I want to talk about this weird shit.
What about P Rapper the Rapper?
Man.
That was kind of creepy to me. It was like a computer game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I played that joint on PlayStation.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was like Sega. It was like the precursor to Guitar Hero.
It was getting me a little creepy. I thought it was like Annabelle to me. Like that's what Grapple was. It was like scary, like Annabelle to me. Seriously, I'm not even holding. I was like, I don't know what's up.
Yeah, he had like that little beanie hat on, and his little like Jenko jeans.
I thought he'd be like, Mixoplik if I like engage.
He had the upside down visor on.
Yo, I did not like him. I did not like Greg. He's like Annabelle.
I think I played that game a bunch on PlayStation.
That's crazy. They let you make beats on it?
Nah, but it was like a game. I forget what it was. I think I played it though a couple times.
Yeah, it was similar to like Guitar Hero where you had to hit sequences to get him to do certain things.
Yeah, my flow was so buns back then. It definitely helped me catch pockets.
He's like, I'm fly on this. I'm like, I'm flying this grapple shit.
X triangle. X triangle. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, I'm dying.
Right in the pocket. I mean, it's paid off. Look at the work. Look at the body of work.
Look at that.
But I'm scared of it.
Let us all to Steel's Kitchen.
And I'm scared of it like Poltergeist. Look, I'm really had an issue with that character. Like, what's going on here?
That's amazing.
It made me feel uncomfortable. You ever noticed that?
It also looked like what was that video that Radiohead video? Is it Paranoid Android where it's like a little dude?
The cartoon really bad animation.
Yeah, and I always conflated. I mean,
it's from the Bends, right? It's either from the Bends.
No, it's from OK Computer.
Okay, yeah,
it is where it's like that
creepy, and that guy has the blue hat.
Yeah, that little hat. I always thought they were the same. I thought he was doing that. Parappa the Rapper was doing that Radiohead shit.
It's very similar.
Very unsettling. Where like he's in the tree, he's like a little baby in the tree.
But my thing about that Radiohead, they had to tell him, yo, make it weird and make it make no sense because it makes no sense. Don't they get in a cab or something at one point in the video?
That's maybe. But then there's also the Karma Police joint where the car's following a dude and he sets the car on fire at the end. And that joint's
I like cartoons, but I don't like creepy cartoons because they'll stick with
the Radiohead one's very unsettling. Shouts to Radiohead. All right, let's talk about our record, please.
All right, so let's get into this. So the people want to talk about it. They want to hear about this record. So I got a bunch of questions for you guys that sort of were on my mind, and then we're going to turn to some of our fans.
Questions. What? Questions.
So the first one is, you guys mentioned right in the notes on the record that it was inspired by like the Rough Riders compilation, Sound Bombing 2, Def Jux Presents. So I want to know like how so? What was it about those that inspired you, and then what did you do to sort of emulate that?
I'll let Castro do that one.
All right, so using the Def Jux Presents as a good example, we'll get to the Rough Riders at the end of my explanation. So back then, you was such a fan of Def Jux that any little extra caveat or icing, a little strawberry they would give you, you would go find, and there was a little bit of hunting going on. I brought in this example. This is parallels, but I remember when Cage was dropping solo material, he would drop a song here. He'd have his own website, and you go get like MP3s, and that was like part of the underground curating. You want to get the random MP3s that might be here or there. And Def Jux, the first compilation was songs from projects to give you like a you ever see those appetizers, and it's like the fried sampler, and you get like 2 mozzarella sticks and 2 chicken wings and 2 onion rings and stuff like that. So like the first Def Jux joint, first Def Jux joint was of that ilk. A song from this artist, song from that artist. So that way, once you listen to it, you'll go to the other projects. That's how Raheem's Lament was.
Right.
Then we started noticing that Def Jux started doing, and this is different because major label artists wouldn't do this either. Like we would find the Lucy's on soundtracks. They were making songs specific for these compilations. The song would exist on the compilation and not be pulled from an album. Right. And that showed a greater attention to detail. And to me, that was a good fan artist symbiosis. Because you don't have to do extra. And we're coming from the 80s and 90s where like the Fugees album has the Mega Rigga Richter mix. Like they would do like extra remixes to give you extra content, right? The Caribbean steel drum mix, whatever. And that was fine, but like Def Jux actually giving you new songs from your artist that you were following on the label. Right. It was rewarding. To me, it was more rewarding than opening up the splash page for Rockefeller and they would have like the 10, 15 albums coming soon and maybe only 5 of them come out.
Or even like the Violator one. Remember the Violator joint?
Yes, I love that.
Like half of them were brand new, but half of them just ended up on everybody's albums anyway.
Yeah. Right. So my point is holding fast with that relationship, the fan, like, we're giving you new stuff and it's worth it and we're pressing it up. It's not any extras. It's not a marketing ploy to finish stuff. This is real quality work that we're giving the fans outside of all our major releases. And I thought that was to me, I thought that was rewarding being a fan. Because if you were plugged in, you would get this batch of songs. You'd be like, all right, here we go. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of
none of this stuff is going to end up on like the future Shrapnel album or the future Career Crooks.
No, the only one that has a life is the Vamoose song. So we put up the remix. The original will be out.
Yeah. But the remix came out before the original.
Yeah.
Yeah. So along those lines, like how did you curate the song and decide which songs were going to get there? Were these songs that were created specifically for this project, or were they things that were created for other projects that didn't necessarily fit in the project and you didn't have a home for them and now this is the home?
So that's where the quality comes in.
This is kind of where the Rough Riders side of it.
Right.
Where we were just like, some of the songs were made for this project and then others were pulled off
other big important projects.
Other big seminal pieces coming out later on, but we were like, rather than making those songs just be some free EP or like, bonus deluxe type of shit, it's like they're good ass songs, they just don't fit that particular track listing, and I don't want to just bury them on a hard drive. And so rather than having them come out later at some point on some and we've done a lot of deluxe joints with CDs and bonus shits, which is fire, right?
But that's where the quality comes in, because we're all working on seminal projects, and these are the songs that didn't. Some of these songs were songs that did not make those cuts, but the quality was still there because a lot of these songs were destined for major seminal projects.
Yeah, and then so like the tie into the Rough Riders thing, we were like, and this is all happening when DMX like first went into the hospital, so before he passed. And we were thinking about, all of us were talking about him and listening to his music and stuff. And then when you think about the Rough Riders compilations, it was like I kept thinking back to like me.
There's plenty of Rough Riders, plenty of artists, but
Right. There's plenty of people on. It's not just like DMX and Eve.
And
DMX
it's solid
and the Locks.
Outside of participation. These are like really good Jay-Z and Juvenile songs. That's another thing me and Z were talking about. These weren't just throwaways of theirs. These are actual solid songs that had track that that had legs to them. Because some of the songs went on to be more successful than the compilation.
Right. And so after and the crazy thing was after X passed and I watched the full Rough Riders documentary from BET last year, which I missed, I didn't know the deep connection they had with Cash Money early on, all of that. And then obviously the stuff with Rockefeller because Jay and X knew each other and then they toured and all that. But it was it was an easy get for them to be like, yo, we're the hot dudes out, you're the hot dudes out, you're the hot dudes out. We're doing a compilation. We want to get the best shit.
And Juvenile wasn't cheap then.
No,
Juvenile wasn't cheap.
Nobody was.
Right. Nobody was cheap. So you had those relationships had to circumvent because Juvie was at a level. He's like, yo, all right, give me 50 grand. He could claim that
song. Right. The biggest song out. And so for us, it was how do we apply it to our circle of people where it's we want to get there, honestly, I'll keep it a buck. There were certain names that came up and we were like, nah, it's not for this. It's not the time to do
what
this.
You talking about?
For people to be involved. Yeah, just outside people. And we were just nah, it's got to be people near and around us, but also giving us their best shit. It's not going to be give me your throwaway beats real quick. Give me the 10 beats no one wants.
And there's a few artists that we had plans for to be on this that didn't come to fruition either.
Correct.
So Alaska, we had plans to make this a full-fledged project, not a collection. All right, you know what, y'all? There's sometimes I don't know if Def Strict did it, but other labels and comps would do collection of B-sides.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yep.
Or B-sides and other ideas.
Yeah.
Or Kendrick's Untitled. That's not where we wanted to go. We didn't want to just go with, because for instance, all right, so the listeners know, you can be working on, say, 15 songs, 10 make the joint. Those 5 are cut, but the difference is sometimes those cut songs you don't work on to fruition because they're cut early in your process.
Yes.
So you don't
making them just to get the ball rolling.
Right. And you don't
finish this is a backbone song.
Right. So these songs we also finished because there are demos that you'll have when you're working on a record and you don't go back to that demo for whatever reason. Right. But the song is not presentable to the public. These are joints we was they were all made to completion.
Right.
And some did not fit the projects that they were made under that auspice.
Right. But they were not we need to pad out the track listing. Let's just tack it on. You know I mean? There were joints we said no to. So good.
And then also, last point, there were some songs that were originally in one form, and then Zilla would get on it, or Alaska got on it to make it more crew. We did do that.
Right.
Yes.
Or Marcus.
So let's take a quick break because we've been talking Vietnam and talking the record. So
yeah.
It's
I ain't even on my break clock like I usually do.
Hey, what's up, Call Out Culture listeners? It's your boy Jason Griff. I'm here today to tell you about my new album, Fireside Chats. I flipped a bunch of punk rock samples, made a bunch of dope beats out of them, got a bunch of dope rappers to rap on them. Everybody from Call Out Culture will be there. Zilla Rocca, Curly Castro, Alaska. Shit, Alaska's there twice. I got Alex Ludovico, I got Billy Woods, I got Juggernaut. Of course, my homie Scorsese is on it. And we got it available today at insubordinaterecords.com. You can get 10% off with the promo code CALLOUT. Fireside Chats, check it out. Peace.
We're back. All right. So on this project, there seems to be a lot of new talent in the mix on this project. So you got Sharif, Ipkiss, Pin, Doof, Dub, etc. So some of these people I know are background people that have been around. Somebody like Dub has been in the mix for a long time.
Right.
But sort of how did these new relationships start, and what made you decide to bring them into this project as their sort of introduction point?
I'll do it real quick. I'll just do Stan Ipkiss because everyone else is more in Castro's world. Stan Ipkiss, I mean, I just know Stan Ipkiss is dope, and we had him on the show a couple months back, and I've been playing his album a lot. Big Ip Don't Play, and so we were just texting and shooting the shit a lot. And Griff just had the idea. Griff was like, "Yo, we should remix Vamoose, but it should just be you, Alaska, and Stan Ipkiss." And I was like, "Oh shit, that'd be hot." I was like, "I haven't worked with him yet, but I think that should be easy."
Wait, who's on the original Vamos?
Just me. It's just me and Disco Vietnam on Vegas Vic. And because Griff was like, yo, we should go big Scorsese energy. Like Scorsese would do a remix, but like redo the whole song, not just take the acapella. I was like, all right, that's bet. So I remember I texted Alaska and Stan like at the same time. And I was like, yo, you know, I know what Alaska's turnaround time usually is. I hadn't worked with Ip yet. And it was like, oh yeah, I got something. I think like in a day or two, he sent it right back. I was like, oh shit. And then Alaska sent his back real quick, and I was like, "Oh, now I got to write to this. Okay, cool. These dudes are not going to smash me." But that was all Griff. Griff, there's mastermind that out of nowhere, and then Alaska and Ip just like shine super quick. So I guess the beat was very inspirational. But shouts to them guys. So the rest of it was more like Castro's roster.
Well, we always are trying to keep our finger on the pulse of like new and exciting talent. Mm-hmm. Hence, if you listen to the show, you'll hear about Brian Ennals and Infinity Knobs. So the thing is, once we get into that talent, we haven't had on the show, but like, you know, Brittany Carter, you know, we're cool with More Mother. It's just, what I'm saying is, we try to stay current with some of the talent that's happening out there. And I also always feel like there's a lot of A-likes out there when it comes to like people that's doing this hip hop at a quality level. And so with that in mind, if I'm thinking of how we should fill out a project, I'm always like, you know, let's try some of our new cats. You know what I'm saying? One, we don't want people to get bored with our collaborators, and that's not the collaborators' fault. That's us. You know what I'm saying? In terms of it being new and fresh and stuff. And so we just try to work. And then you'll see when we have people on the show, there's also a mutual respect for the craft. So sometimes later on down the line, there might be some working on. That's not, you know, to tell the listeners, it's not necessarily we'll get people on the show that we want to work with, but a lot of people that come on the show, we would be more than willing to work with. And there's a certain talent level that we look for in terms of our collaborations. So usually, but that was a good pickup last night. Usually if y'all hear us working with somebody, it's old to us, but it might be new to y'all. We might have had stuff in the works for a little bit. And then, you know,
I'd steel tip Dove on Future Former Rapper. He did like 3-4 beats on that joint. You know what I mean? But I haven't worked with him since.
And then, you know, we recorded a whole new Shrapnel record at Dove's house. Yeah. And we recorded the Cobalt EP there. Mm-hmm. So like, you know, Dove's been around
too, right?
On what? On the new record? Yeah. On the new Shrapnel, he's the main producer.
Right. Yeah. So this is sort of a spin-off question. So pretty much everyone on the record has been on the podcast, even Dove. Like he showed up in one of the
round table,
like the open round table things.
Yep.
So everybody except for Fresh Kill and Barry.
Right.
Right.
So that's it a matter? Pretty much. Do they think they're too good for us, or do you both?
Yes. Barry hates Shasta Disco Vietnam. Barry, who just, you know, crushed it on the Pete Rosenberg album.
Barry definitely thinks it's better than us. Kills. It's pretty much just opportunity. We are making more of a concentrated effort to have producers on the show and give them their voice. Because I know there was something lined up with Kills that didn't come to fruition, and I know Barry is like on our queue.
He doesn't want to be on. He hates podcasts, so I don't think he's gonna be on the show.
Barry's on our queue. Or Barry, he owes me a few things, so yeah, he knows, and so he's in the queue. So, but again, Alaska, to answer that question, sometimes we don't want to be, you know, stale with it. So we want to have the guests on, but we want to have an interesting topic and not some typical rap by numbers topic. So,
real quick, we also had Cryptic One on the show, MPQ on the show.
Yep, in terms of like
some Cryptic mastering.
Yeah, like I said, the only ones that weren't on the show.
Yes. I think it's just a matter of it's our fault. Content creation. when we have content that's like exciting and we want to bring him on, then we will. And I think that's it. Like, we don't want to just have Barry on. Hey, Barry, what was it like producing 5 rounds? We want to have Barry on. We can talk his shit, get his shit off, but also have an interesting discourse if he's willing to come on.
He is not.
Anyway, when Barry comes on, the topic will be. When Barry comes on, the topic will be enough that he's willing to come on. It won't just be like a typical podcasting thing.
All right, we'll do it. We'll do it with him. The executive producer,
so
Vegas Vic.
So sort of more than this, like, what, when you guys put together the track order, like what is the decision process in like putting this together? Like, you know, what were your thoughts when laying everything out, like sort of vibes of the whole record? And, you know, even to the point with like bringing in guest lyricists and producers, like, is there any functionality to that, or is it just sort of things that were already in the mix? And you might have kind of already answered that.
No, I mean, we did a group think. We have group text, and we, I think I did a lineup. Z did a lineup. Prem edited both lineups, and then we had to factor in Small Pro's pieces. Right. So then that kind of rearranged how we had it. So like I did a lineup, Zilla did a lineup, Prem looked over the lineups, and then Smalls had his pieces. And then once we had those, then the record kind of line. We were able to get a proper arrangement. Yeah, I don't know. I do think we always want to start strong. So that's a Small Pro instrumental. And then the first song is the Broken Hand Style.
Yeah.
So, you know, you just want to, like, I have weird myths about tracks 1 to 4 that I would just. All right, so when it comes to that, like, the funny thing is everybody doesn't agree with me, but I will find my way to get my myths off. So track 1 is questionable. It could be a really banging song, but there's a great opportunity to have an actual intro, like an actual place setting thing. It might not be musical at all. Track 1 is always that opportunity. Now you take that or you don't. Track 2, tension grabber. Can't have no real slow, syrupy thing on track 2. Track 3 and 4, you can have those, but track 2 needs to be like either a little gut punch or something grab you by your collar and shake you up a little bit. Now track 3 is where you can divert. Track 3, you can actually really take a big chance. You can kind of really diverge because track 4 will bring you a chance to bring you back on track. So track 3, you can try something really out there, whatever that may be. And then 4 brings you back, and then we get into the rest of the run.
Well, when I did my arrangement, the trickiest part is, and I saw some of the questions people were asking throughout the day. Shouts to everybody that tweeted questions. But the hardest part was, and someone dissed the project on one of those album rate sites. They were like, "This shit is whack." I was like, "They're like Beats Suspect, not as good as Raheem's Lament. 3 out of 10 or some shit, right?" Someone trashed it, and I was like, "Bet." But I was just like, yo, when you have Small Pro, Fresh Kills, those 4GW, Steel Tip Dove, Doof, you know what I mean? Like, you don't I probably said Fresh Kills. You don't have like a clear line of dynamics between all of these guys' approaches. So when I'm sitting there looking at the track listing, you know, and I, if anybody who remotely knows me, I'm obsessed with album arrangements. The way I was thinking about it was like, when we talked about all these compilations, to me I was like, which one had the weirdest collection
mix of songs?
Right.
Oh wait, Z, let me interject. This is something we do. We don't talk about it with the listeners, but a great example is, so what Zilla does is he found a compilation, and there was a lot we missed out even when we talked about it in the episode. Where's this the mixed bag, so many different diverse artists. But what we did was we will take up when you get to arranging and mixing, get an example. Take The Wailers' Catch a Fire, put it right next to your album. Take the W, even records that might not be universally accepted, but you like how that album flowed, and line your shit up song to song.
That's it.
The W, what did we use the W for? Wu-Tang
Pope. Yeah, Wu-Tang Pope.
So we try to line it up almost song for song. Or they got this type of song in number 6. We're gonna put our version of number 6. And it gives you like kind of an outline without giving you an outline. It's like those things used to hand you in class where it had the Roman numerals on it, but nothing filled in. Right. So that's also a good tip.
That's what we did. So when it came to this joint, like I said, like all the disparate disparate,
Yep.
disparate producers, like Griff. How do you blend them all together in a way that makes some kind of sense, so it's not so jarring where it just sounds like we didn't want it to sound like here's just 12 rando joints like an old school iPod playlist, right?
So, shuffle.
So it kind of dawned on me where I was like, the Def Jux compilations were still, even though there's a lot of different, like they're still following a similar
and they were
aesthetic.
all made maybe in the same place. I remember Aesop would send him his songs, like he would like Aesop and Block in my app song. Alaska could tell me, but Alaska were
DJ Paul.
When y'all did the Def Jux compilations, were a lot of them made like at L's house, or were people sending in stuff?
I think it was a mix. Like we sent our stuff in, we never recorded it at L's house.
Okay.
Now, was there a central mix and master guy, or?
Yeah, that was all like done centrally. Yeah.
Okay.
Got you. So for this one, I was like, the one I used was Sound Bombing 2, because Sound Bombing 2 production wise has like Beat Miners, Mighty My, L, Evidence, DJ Spinna.
Yeah, all underground, but very different.
Very different.
You wouldn't find these guys on the one album. They weren't. You wouldn't find them keeping company on the same albums.
No,
I'll say that.
So what they had was they had like J Rock or whoever blending, and doing all the cuts and shit, which was amazing. But for me, I was like, there needs to be thought behind all of those different dynamics from like Sound Bombing 2 into what we're doing, because you have the elements where like Small Pro in the Sound Bombing 2 world, he's more like, high tech Diamond D Spinna type of producer.
Right.
But then you have like Dove, who would be more of like an LP adjacent kind of producer. Dose 4G would be kind of like an L, you know what I mean? Like that style of beat. So it's like, when you listen to Sound Bombing 2, like you have Medina Green on the same record as Patriotism.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like Crosstown Beef. So when I was looking at them, I was like, oh, okay. The dopest part about Sound Bombing 2 is the second half of the project has like crazy shit.
Yeah.
So there's a stretch in Sound Bombing 2 where you hit 7XL, then you hit Chaos, Reflection Eternal, Bahamadia. Then you hit the song Sound Bombing with Tash and Dilated, which is fire. Then you hit Brooklyn Hard Rock, Mayor by Pharaoh, then Patriotism. Wow. Like that's all in a row.
Brooklyn Hard Rock Thursday.
And then after Patriotism is 1999. So it's like the beginning of the album.
That's almost a major label artist in terms of like Common and Sadati, right?
Right. So for ours, I was like, yo, as much as I like really, really loved Sanford and Son Ra, Poets Who Last, Vamoose, I'm like, those three right there, they can't be right at the front. It's got to reward people to get to. And so far, like those, like Vamoose remix and Sanford and Son Ra and Poets, like those are the songs I saw early. People were jocking. Like Poets Who Last was our first lead.
Was our first lead,
that's,
right?
That's track 12 out of 13.
Check 1, 2, 2.
Don't let them steal your shine. Feed the meter, such a grind. Bad apple touched the rind. Couldn't so much as find a time. Such is life. Fell for the left, crust behind. Counting betrayals like these trails look much different in the light. And Tony said it's only in the mind. Literati most phony. If you hold and show me. Pony up a dime. Gatekeepers wanna cozy up. I'm like, well, if I only had the time. They withholding what they show you by design. The bumping coverage meant to slow you off the line. Throw you off the sand.
So it was kind of playing with the expectation, and like Catro said, like the typical arrangement is like track 1 like an intro, set the mood. Track 2 punch you in your face. Track 3 like an uppercut. Track 4 maybe headbutt you a little bit and pull you in a corner. Track 5 kind of, there's kind of vibes and feelings that people tend to follow. But with this one, it was like, because we had so many different ways we can go, it was an opportunity to do something a little bit different. So, having also, Sanford and Son Ra like track 11, that was my shit.
Also, we were also showing the strength of a Wrecking Crew, because it wasn't just, let's say, just songs from our solo identities.
Right.
Like we also put our demos in there.
Right.
Our producer MC collabos, and there's
Cargo Colts.
There's Cargo Colts in there. There's Career Crooks in there. Shrapnel is in there. Plus Solo Zilla, Solo Castro, Solo Prem. So Smalls and stuff. So it's just we trying to give when nowadays with Wrecking Crew, on the compilations, for instance, because we have a full length in the works, and that's just pretty much the three of us rapping and Smalls producing. That's a little bit more straightforward. But I think we always want to give you like that 6-sided die. So the die is going to have one side Shrapnel, one side Grip Company, one side Career Crooks, one side, Cargo Colts. Bourbon Generals is another thing coming. We just want to give you all, and when you roll a die, whatever side it might turn up, it might turn up. But we always want to give you a splash of all of our identities. It would be like a Doom. If Doom ever did like discs with all of his peoples on it, that's Wrecking Crew. That's Wrecking Crew.
Okay.
I like that.
So speaking of like all the identities, one of our followers asked the question. So Tweets Van Zant wants to know why no Blue Edwards material. The people need more.
Oh, ask them specifically about Blue Edwards.
Yeah.
Blue Edwards was an endeavor. It took a while to do. It was a lot of Smalls beats going to me, and it took me a while to craft them out. So right now, Blue Edwards is just kind of like a moment. I don't know if I'm being superstitious now, but me and Smalls have not worked on any song since.
Right.
Not at all. Like he's not on my new record. Mm-hmm. He's not on like Trap. Like it's like we literally have not worked on any music since.
Literally,
Actually, literally, we work together on things, and I'm aware of what's going on with him. He knows what was going on, but we have not like, hey, here's some beats, Castro. All right, I'm like, all right, yeah. So like, I think Blue Edwards might be a moment because it might be more massaging to our regularness. Like, I don't know if me and him will sit down and like just do one album again. It'd be more like, he's producing on stuff that I do. I think it is. That's just my idea. I think Blue Edwards might have been it might be a one-off. Just letting it be out there. It might be a one-off.
Okay. So speaking of not necessarily one-offs, but so this seems like it's number 2 in the series, right? So you had Raheem's Lament. Now we got Steel's Kitchen. Are there plans for like a Q's Older Woman album? Or
that's a good
versus Raheem
that's a good title.
Someone asked that, right? Someone asked that.
I could not figure out. So all right, so there's we're thinking about it, but we are having issues with coming up with a title for Q's part. But that doesn't mean flood me with this is my arena, ladies and gentlemen.
Castro, let me tell you these fucking people, man. Castro is you could text this fucking guy at 6:10 in the morning on a Sunday, be like, yo, I need an album title. I need a group title. What's the name of my EP? He'll be like, what is it? You tell him what it is. Fucking your text go ping, 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 ping. You'll get a list. You'll get a list of joints.
Send at the least 20 suggestions, right? 20. That's
at least 8, like 8 rapid fire joints.
And then
they'll have like intricate Castro spellings to certain words. You're like, I didn't know you could spell a word that way. And you can. He'll hit you with that. So don't flood him with the
that's not what I'm saying. I'm
Q's
just telling
courage.
people.
Q's elevator. That's the next one. Q's elevator.
Or don't call me Quincy. Whatever the fuck y'all
call me Quincy.
Look, just leave it to me. But the point is,
DJGQ.
So that is the one problem with making this a series is we're having an issue coming up with Q's part. And funny enough, we went on the Roland Bishop Memorial Tour.
Oh yeah, that was their tour.
So
Roland Bishop
that was our
Memorial
first
tour.
like good little run. So Bishop was represented, but if we do one, we'll make one.
We have to do a different one. Yeah, we gotta do a different one.
Yeah, we'll do it different. But I'm just saying like that iconography has been. Oh, and it was ill. Yeah, we had that might be it. We had a Bishop silhouette with the part and the flat top and everything.
That was fire. That was the tour poster. That shit was
and
fire.
and it had we had
tour shirts. I hope so because that would be
we were not savvy enough. It would have been a great. First of all, it's a great t-shirt. It's a silhouette and it has a gold Uzi chain on it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
that
it's really, really a good design. Fire. Like it was really good.
Shouts to the 2 people who came to the show in New Mexico. I mean, where was it? New Mexico?
Where they had the actual posters?
Yeah, they had the poster up, but 2 people showed up.
Yeah.
Shouts to the 2 people at that.
So
show.
there's a look. All right, so Wrecking Crew, we have a certain aesthetic. We don't get it confused with construction workers or steel workers local 307. Wrecking Crew is from the Juice movie. The 4 of us pretty much fit some of those categories, give or take.
The Juice movie.
Wrecking Crew used to have a different roster, so there was a time where me and another cat in the crew used to switch the Q and Bishop personas depending on what was going on that day. But now it's kind of more set in stone what it is.
Who's Steele then? Who's Steele in the crew?
That's Smalls.
Well, Pro.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't realize I should have known that.
Yeah, you're Trip. Like you own the arcade.
Yeah, you're Trip. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like, I'm cool with that.
You think
I kind of went with Special Ed rolling up in the beginning.
Nah.
No, last the time you were.
I thought that was your girl.
You know me as a kid. You think I'm a killer? Known a lot of killers.
Known a lot of killers as they was kids.
They was good as you.
But I don't. Only thing
our next Patreon episode should be a live watch of Juice.
I'll do that. But my thing with Trip is once they start talking Snappy Nappy Dugout, and you as a kid, you don't realize until you get older. Like these are 30-year-old men.
Yeah.
So,
there's a white rapper from I think he's from Buffalo or something. His name's Blizz from Juice.
He's out
wild.
Here.
He's wild. His album covers are amazing. Look up Blizz from Juice.
I will not.
He has some of the best album covers in the world.
I will not.
He's on at Ito. I think he's down with Ito.
Blizzard shot
Juice. Blizz from
But
Juice.
Yeah. So anyway, that's
wild.
where we get a lot of our iconography. Some of our aesthetic actually come from the Wrecking Crew within the Juice movie. And so when it comes to compilations, and I'm trying to make the distinction because Wrecking Crew also we do LPs, and we will be doing one sooner than later.
Sure.
And that's a little that's to the listeners and the supporters. It's actually totally different. Our album will be more like what would Sheen Gun do, as opposed to this compilation form we're doing.
Blizz is in there right now, sticking the place up. Oh yeah, Blizz from Juice. He got a lot of face tattoos, but he just makes like some grimy raw shit.
I can't fuck with face tattoos, man.
Oh yeah,
it's just bad decision making. It's not people that I would allow in my house.
Yeah, his album cover with Anna Nicole Smith like flashing her titties, and he's like a little kid. That shit is amazing. Everybody look up the Blizz from Juice album cover. Shouts to Blizz from Juice. We'll get him. We'll get him on the next one.
So I got a couple more questions. Then we'll take a break and get into the fan questions.
Bet.
So artwork. Let's talk about that because I know PQ did the design. It looks fucking amazing. So was that something he came up with on his own, knowing the album title, or was there a discussion about it beforehand? Because I think the 40 bottle is really the spirit animal of Steel.
Yes.
There was like rarely a moment that he didn't have a 40 in his hand.
So Castro, so Castro came up with the title, and then when we hit up PQ, because he did like the alternate stuff for Raheem's Lament, where he did like the hand drawn picture of us on the CD only, and then we wanted to work with him again, and Castro told him,
too, right?
Yeah, right, he did the shirt. You can still get Raheem's T-shirt. Them shits is fire. Castro told him, "Oh, look at you." Castro told him like, "Yo, it needs to have the bacon, it needs to have the eggs, it needs to have the 40 bottle." And then he was like, it needs to have the ski mask. And then PQ did all that. And then Castro was like, no, this is the wrong bottle of ski mask. It's got to be like the Q-tip hot sex on a platter type of joint where it just covers.
With the Velcro on the back and the little in the air dots.
Yeah, and like the nose kind of looks like Dr. Doom type of nose.
Very specific.
Yeah. So
it is,
he sent it to him. He was like, yo, just
neoprene.
change this. What is
it? Yes, neoprene.
Yes. So my dad used that one. My dad had a blue
in New York, there was a whole host of face masks, but we were also doing the goggles back then. So stuff had to be
the big iridescent ski goggles.
Yes, you couldn't just have on stuff. It had to be a certain thing. And I remember that mask was one that you could take off real quick with one hand and put in your pocket.
Yes.
As opposed to other things you might have to pull off your face. But the way that was, specifically because you could rip it off from the back and like grab it with one hand and it's in your pocket. So
whip that around.
And it was two colors, so you could flip it over.
Yep. My dad had a blue gray joint. Yep. And so Castro gave PQ like those pieces, and then he on his own later condensed everything into the 40 bottle with like all the ill script, which he's a master of, with all like the high detail things he puts on. So when we saw that, we were like, oh fuck it, like that's gotta be like the main image for everything else. But
well, all right,
CDs,
let me give you a quick thing. So I called up Zilla and I told he's forgetting this part. We're big fans of Ozark.
Yes, yes, you're right. I forgot.
Yeah, Ozark always has a crest. It's a loose crest because it's only you see the 4 lines in the middle, but it's pretty much like a crest. Things you would find at a school. And it has items.
Yep.
4
in every
items
episode. Yep.
Right. That so yeah, they have items that are supposed to infer what's coming up in the episode.
Correct. Yep.
So I said, yo, we should do a crest, and I was thinking more like like a school, like a school a crest that you have at school with the shield behind it and the items. And I was like, when it comes to Steele's Kitchen, the crest would be the ski mask they used to rob old man Quilles, the 40 bottle he pours into his bacon, eggs, and ketchup. And it's the fact that he says, I'll make it like this all the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so that was the items for me. And then PQ took it and made it into a 40 bottle label. The CDs have the big S and the K with the items floating. And then the 40 bottle is the digital cover.
So is the 40 bottle also going to be the t-shirt?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm waiting to get that one piece, and then we can hook it all up, because the CDs got delayed because they're coming from overseas. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks I'll get them in hand. They'll be mailed out to everybody. So we apologize for the delay. Ain't our fault, man. Blame Europe, man. Fucking assholes. Piece of shit.
Or blame Postmaster DeJoy. It's his fucking fault. Seriously.
DeJoy.
No, seriously. I'm still waiting for my ultimate lint roller. You're supposed to rinse it off, and it, So first of all, if anybody doesn't know, you want to steal money from Castro, put an Instagram ad up and just put it on my feed. I buy everything off Instagram, no matter how much I got burned. Well, when you get burned for a magnetic levitating table that you think it's $100, but when you really look it up, it's $1,000, and the one you bought wasn't the same one. Oh yeah. So
God.
I buy a lot of t-shirts off of Instagram. That's about it.
I buy a lot of fear, and my girl getting mad at me. Did you research the company? Because I end up one time I bought from a company that disappeared, Alaska, and then they popped up with a new name and a new web address selling the same fraudulent gift. Fraudulent items. Yep.
Let's take a next break.
All right. So we'll take a next break.
Shouts to Castro's IG ad filter. Shouts to that. We'll do that. We'll do this.
My naivete, my Instagram naivete.
Calling culture live from the liner notes. Steele's Kitchen, brought to you by Hunt's Ketchup.
Shablam, shablow. Are the 4 elements keeping you down? Do you find yourself cutting your fingers every time you work on a flyer or an insert? Are you tired of being asked to boost your ads or buy ad space? Well, the boys at Griff Company, we have the solution for you. Now, all jokes aside, this is Wrecking Crew consultation. If you think that your hip-hop career can use a battery burst, do you feel like you want to have some type of counsel and a soundboard, or do you just need a good old pep talk? We can help you out here. Zilla Rocca and myself, Curly Castro, we are offering our consulting services at nominal fees. So if that's something you're interested in, shoot us an email, give us a call, and we'll help you out. Tell me, when was the first time you fell in love with hip-hop?
All right, so let's turn this over to our Twitter followers.
We're looking for some lighter. We're looking for some lighter sponsorships.
Yo, by the way,
lighter company.
I was looking into call out culture buttons.
Oh,
okay. With what?
Just like little pins, like the little.
No,
pins.
I know, but we need something new. I don't like to keep using. I like me and merch. I just like keep making newer things. So we need something to go on the button. We can put the regular call out culture stuff we have, but I would like to keep pushing the brand.
New, but I was just thinking because we've never had any call out culture merch.
No, we haven't.
Yeah.
We talked about a t-shirt, but it gotta be good. It gotta be a good t-shirt. I'm just on some. It gotta be quality shit. Like I'm looking for somebody to do the Wrecking Crew cover now. So I'm just on that type of hunt. But okay.
Yes.
All right. So Timmy Turnips wants to know what's the dopest label comp in the same vein as the one that you guys have done, and the dopest song on Sound Bombing 1.
Ooh, dopest label comp. I mean, to me, it's
gonna be Def Jux 3.
Def Jux 3 or the Rough Riders joint, because
the Rough Riders
like
2.
we kept saying, like the Rough
2.
Riders won't. Yeah, the 1 and 2. It was just because there was no fat. It was just like even the songs that don't hit the best, it was people giving their all. You know what I mean? Or even like Rock La Familia, which Jay made it.
Would that be
Jay made it a J album, but it's a compilation. It's not a J album.
I'm mixed on that one, but I know why people like that because I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't like that record. Because I was also I wasn't all into rock at that point. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't like a Rockefeller super fan. So when you got something with all Rockefellers, I was like, whatever. Seriously, that was just me.
I would say it has to be Soundbombing too.
Soundbombing 2 is a shit.
All right, and my song,
the track listing again. I was like, damn.
My song from Soundbombing, it's hard. I know. I got it up. It's hard. So to me, because first of all, Universal Magnetic was a big song in my life.
Ooh, I got that 12-inch.
Before I even knew, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But What If? The El Fudge thing is so tight. Yes. Shabam's on there.
Yeah.
Scam, Kweli's on there. I used to listen to What If a lot. DJ Spinner did the beat. 2000 Seasons. Those are my picks.
Oh God, I love 2000.
This is 2000 Seasons before I started not liking Kweli's material. It's way before that. This is me Mood Doom. It's Mood Doom time with me and Kweli.
I went back to.
So I'm like digging all the stuff he was dropping.
Maybe a couple years ago I was playing that album a lot randomly.
Mood.
No. Soundbombing 1. Okay. And I don't want to list the songs like Fire and What You Burn, all that Loon TNS, but I know Alaska's a big Nightwork guy. Sir Menelik over
that's not on that record though. Is it?
It's not on there.
Nightwork's
on.
The
Nightwork is. Yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. Sure
it is.
Sir Menelik with
No, but wait. There's the 12-inch got versions of Nightwork that's not on this album.
Yeah.
But
they got the LP version on there.
Yes, they do have the LP version.
Yeah.
Yeah. My joint that I was playing a lot was they're back to back. It's the R.A. the Rugged Man joint with 8 Off, Till My Heart Stop. We not like these other MCs, running fake props. And then the other one, the Black Star Freestyle, where they rhyme over the Black Attack beat, which is like one of my favorite piano.
What, the Fortified Live joint?
No. They're like literally just freestyling in a studio together.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And it's over this Black Attack beat. That's crazy. It's like this amazing.
And you know what else? You know what I don't like though? Because it sounds creepy the way they say the hook, even though I like the song So Intelligent. So intelligent. That's what I was saying. That's mine. So Intelligent and Arabian Nights were mine. I really love
that. That dude Nick Wiz was fired. He made that Arabian Nights.
Who raps on Arabian Nights?
Shabam.
Yeah. I just want you to say it out loud, baby. Yeah.
Shablam Sadiq.
Yo, let me tell you.
Shablam Sadiq.
I think my only thing with Shabam is if he could have dropped a record around that time. He should have got off the 12-inch wave and dropped like an actual album amongst all of that.
12 inches was banging.
But he would have.
He had Exhibit and the Alchemist.
He had the acumen where he would have been able to look. He didn't even have to go deep. 10, 11 songs. Just drop a raucous project in that time. 10, 11 songs. It would have done what it was supposed to do. That's all I'm saying.
Totally agree.
He had the equity. He was always showing out on. You know what he was. If anybody knows the NBA, so like this season. The MVP race came down to Doncic and Embiid.
No, Jokic.
Doncic played.
Jokic.
Excuse me. Sorry, Jokic and Embiid. Jokic played all 72 games. Embiid missed 20 games, and that was pretty much the difference maker because their stats were a push. Right. Shabam Sadiq didn't miss any games in that first wave. Remember, he was on the tracks they asked him to be on.
He's on Soundbombing too. He's on Lear's Lounge too.
He made appearances. He was like, "Yo, you gonna see me?"
Yes,
and I remember that. I like that about it. Yep.
Good call. All right, what's the next question? Shouts to Timmy Turnips. You sound like a fucking...
Next question is from Not Forgotten. He's got 2. So
okay.
First one is on Looks Easy When It Works. He loves the way the filtered effect on the vocals and the part where the beats cut off.
Okay.
So how did those decisions, those creative decisions come about?
So when I first did that song, I did it on a totally different mic, totally different setup. But the part is real where Small Pro sent me a beat and I didn't loop it up. So I'm doing the song one take all the way through, and then the fucking beat cut off. And I was just recording being like, oh, fuck. Like just thinking out loud, like, fuck the fucking beat. I got to loop it up. Shit. And so I then, had to pause the recording to loop the beat. And I was like, that would be funny as shit if I just kept it in there and then looped the beat and then caught it again, you know what I mean?
Switch names from Nick Coppola to Nicolas Cage. Now I'm booking chauffeurs as Vic Sage. My pages
Damn, why'd the beat cut off? I gotta loop it. Come on, damn it. Fuck. Here we go.
My pages, gold savings, grown folks bracelets. That means you can't touch us. I'm blacked out on Jack, but I never smoked Dutchess. Broke as Henry Hill after Karen started flushing.
It reminded me of the Bronson joint on Blue Chips. It's called like 9. It's the date he does the song where he fucks up a bunch of times on the song and they keep it in there for it's amazing. So you know me, I love mistakes, so I kept it in there. And then but I put the filter on my voice after because I went back and redid my vocals on this mic I'm using now on my new interface. Everything was new. So I was like, rather than pull up all this old shit and try to fine tune it, I'll just redo it real quick. So the vocals are newer, but the original part where I fuck up and then like you hear me freaking out because I gotta loop the beat again. That was very genuine. So there you go. Shouts to Not Forgotten.
Because I heard a version where that shit ain't in it.
Oh no, it's always been in there. It's always been in there.
Wait, was that with the career? That wasn't with that first batch of Career Crook second album thing I got. You didn't have that song. Okay, that's what it is. So I'm thinking I had an earlier version. Of that song. Okay.
Yep.
So the next question actually is for me. And he said that he's curious about the line "Live next to Son of Sam." At least that's what my pop said in the Cargo Colts song.
Cargo Colts, yeah, Guy Fieri shirt.
So he just wanted to know like what that was all about. So when I was born, I lived at 42 Pine Street in Yonkers. That's where my parents lived, and that's where I was born. And that's the same building that Son of Sam lived in.
Oh.
So, I mean, we moved out in 74, 75.
Right. So that was like 3 to 2 years before he got into
he got busted, I think, in 76 or 77.
70s. It's after 77 because 77 was the year he was running rampant, and then they caught him.
Yeah. So I don't know how long he actually lived there or if there's any overlap, but every time we would go back down to Yonkers to visit family, we would drive by the old building. My dad would be like, Son of Sam lived
I thought he was in the Bronx. That was my bad.
No, he grew up in the Bronx, and then he moved to Yonkers.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay.
So, I mean, that's really that's the story. It's not like...
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. The apartments are apartments. So when you hear like people grew up somewhere, that, they're in the boroughs, it's just like...
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's the Live Next to Son of Sam story.
My mom is funny because in the year Son of Sam, I was a toddler. I was just born. Yeah. And even though Son of Sam had his preferences, they were well known, my mom still was scared to death to go get like my bottle from up in the front. Like, and she was a black woman with dark hair. Yeah. Wow. So, but he just had...
It was so completely random,
Yeah, he had the city in a chokehold. Plus it was that blackout. Plus it was the hot summer. So it was just like... Yeah. Now, I think it was in that order. It was the hot summer and the blackout, and it's like, oh my fucking God, somebody shooting people. Like it's like on top of all this stuff that was going on that year, like and then somebody randomly shooting people out on dates. Oh hell no!
The crazy shit is, it was like that's the thing that caught. There was like 2,000 murders in New York that year.
Of course, yeah. Oh, it was murder. We were murdered, and I'm not old enough, but Alaska to test. Like it was death. Like nothing. Like
it was bad. I mean, I was a kid too, so I don't really remember any of that.
But there was subway attacks. I remember there was stuff like that. Like Subway was really precarious after dark.
Yeah, I remember like going to Yankee Stadium in the 70s and just like, being like 6, 7 years old. And like, because of seeing like things on the news about how bad it was, like just being terrified leaving.
There was
never any issues. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, never any issues. But it was just like, even in the stadium, I'm like, are we gonna get attacked going to the bathroom?
And it's fun. And it's funny is thinking about it that way, Alaska. It's so scenic riding into Yankee Stadium. The train rides behind us. It's a fairy tale if you're a baseball fan. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, totally.
If you know about how insidious the Bronx can be, it can taint that experience. But I remember like the way they have that thing set up, this is like Valhalla. If you're like, oh, you know what I mean?
No question. And it's just like everything's lit up.
Yeah, and then there's all those stories. Everywhere. There's
all the stores, all the shops, the bars, the restaurants,
all the Yankee themed stores. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really a great environment. I'm glad they kept it up all of these years, even still. But like knowing the Bronx, I could see, being scared. Like it's funny because Coney Island felt safe as hell, but not the couple of stops before it. Like that little 3 or 4 or 5 stops before you get to Coney Island, you didn't get off. You didn't know anybody. Nobody got off. But once you got to Coney Island, it was cool at the park. Don't walk down the boardwalk to the neighborhood. Coney Island was a very dangerous place.
Oh yeah, still to this day, like
still is to this day.
You go to Coney Island, it's like we'll go to like there's a pizza place there called Totono's, I believe it's called, or Tonono's, something like that. It's like a classic like New York pizza place, like one of the best pizza
original Italian,
all the time. But it's like you got to like park down some like side streets. And they're, I mean, never any issues, but it's just like, it's dark. There's not like.
Know where you're at. Don't be a tourist. That's the mantra. Know where you're at. Don't be a tourist. If you get lost, walk around the block.
Yep. Keep your head on swivel.
Yep. There you go.
That was the next question.
Okay. So the next question is from Tweets Van Zandt. And he said, on Broken Hand Styles, it goes Castro, Preem, Alaska.
Prem.
Then on 98 Clue, it goes Alaska, Preem, Castro. Prem. Sorry, I don't know why. I'm reading it
because you're reading it as a Prem.
Yeah, my bad. So he wants to know: was this intentional? Either way, it's dope symmetry. He just wanted to
know. Broken Hand Style. We got Alaska on the song as the end piece, so we gave you like the cleanup. But because it was a shrapnel song. If anybody knows the shrapnel formula, I almost always go first. So it's always going to, on shrapnel songs, I'm pretty much going to be the first verse. So that's what dictates that lineup. Zilla, you did 98 Clue. Why did you arrange it that way?
So 98 Clue was, it was the original was much longer. And then when I went back to it, I was like, I gave everybody the assignments for that song for the Career Crook shit. And then, when I went back to it, I was like, it's just way too long. And it doesn't, like, the original plotting of it had everyone getting equal amounts of verses and equal amounts of bars. And I was just like, after a while, I was like, it's one of them songs, like, you're looking down, you're like, but this shit is just dragging on forever.
Yeah, it's still on? Damn. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to just tell everybody, like, your verse might get cut. And if you even remember what you put on this shit, because it's all like little 8-bar pieces or 4-bar pieces or whatever. So with that joint, I thought even from the original takes, I thought Alaska had the strongest verses, and his shit was done in a way where he sounded like he did it all like in one shot. He had like the same presence and energy. Whereas me, Castro, and Prem did this shit all different ways, many different styles, different times of our lives, different times of the session. When it's beginning, you got a lot of energy, and it's the end of the session, your voice is cracking, and your throat's a little dry. Like, I was hearing all that in the mix, so I was like, let me
trust and believe, listeners. There's a 4-bar section that's in the song that I wanted Zilla to use a different one that I felt I was rapping a little bit.
And I was like, no, that's even worse. So I'm gonna cut that. And then there was a part I just took out of my own little
We out here on that coup de grace. You fucking corny like the backup band for Bruno Mars. We suited down in the accoutrements of Kubla Khan. You focused on the bottom like the red part to some Louboutins.
Death on debit, cash wreck on a reg. I read it on the Reddit thread that you went over your head. Dichotomous, Mary prankster, and a gentleman. Chess versus checkers. Better check versus gentleman. Hella unfair, well aware. Catches rap hands tax free like Delaware.
Cigar rings high at wrecking crew high.
All of that. So it kind of started off following a grid of bars and by certain people following certain people's voices, and then it just kind of veered into a different spot.
You didn't map it against the original
Nah. Okay. I was like, fuck it.
Original 98. Okay.
Yeah, so I was just like, I was basing off of this Def Squad freestyle on DJ Clue the Professional, where they all rhyme over "It's My Thing." That was the inspiration for the song. So that's why I call it 98 Clue. Yeah, so it's like Redman, EPMD, and Keith Murray all trading back and forth shit. So I want to do that for us, hence 98 Clue freestyle. But yeah, it just happened to be that way, where Alaska cleans up and then goes first on the next joint. You know what I mean? It's just, and then Prem comes. I didn't even catch that, but it's cool like that to do shit like that, where it's people catch those little pockets where certain, like, there's even parts where Alaska, I said to Castro, Alaska, there's parts where like you repeat like certain little words or phrases throughout the project.
Yeah.
Unknowingly. You reference like Ahmad Jamal. I mean, Ahmad back in the days.
Yeah, I remember 2 tracks, back-to-back tracks.
I mean, it's right? Crazy. It's like it's ill to have those little tie-ins that kind of make it seem, more cohesive. Yeah, more cohesive like that. So there you go.
All right. So our friend Jason Griff wants to know, Zilla, did you hit the trifecta? Girlfriend, twin sister, roommate, or were you 1 for 3 like Giannis at the foul line?
Yeah. So that story is somewhat true. I was dating this girl, and I thought of it because I was rapping to that beat driving by a street this girl used to live on. I was like, oh shit, I used to date this girl who had an identical twin sister. And I was like, I
remember this story.
Yeah, I wouldn't know if it was like her or her twin sister just like showed up one day. Yeah, like I wouldn't be able to distinguish them because I wasn't dating her very long. You know what I mean? And then, but she also lived with this girl that was her roommate, and she was nervous about me being around a roommate because the roommate stole her last man from her. So she was very scared of that shit. And then finally, when I met the roommate, I was like, oh shit, I could actually really like the roommate a little bit more than this girl, but I can't really, she's already been traumatized from that shit. I can't do it again. So later on, after I stopped seeing her, later, it hit me. I was like, yo, I should get at that girl's roommate. Like, they're probably not even friends anymore. They probably don't live to it. And I remember like finding her like on early social media. And I was like, how do I even say, like, this is so foul. I can't even, you know what I mean? Like, how do you open the door with this, with the roommate? So the story was kind of flipped on its head just to be kind of funny about a girl worrying so much that I fall in love with the roommate that she falls in love with the roommate instead. So there you go. It was real shit. Somewhat embellished.
All right, so we got a few more.
We got a lot of questions. Go ahead,
rapid fire.
Yeah, just
I'm saying we only got like 4 or 5 more left.
Oh, I just went to Twitter. I found like 5, 6 more.
I know, I got them. I'm just opening them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, and some of them we already kind of talked about. So, So Dan over at Free Music Empire wants to know, how did Mario Brothers come together? That beat is so not what I was expecting.
So what I did was working on the Shrapnel record. The new Shrapnel record, I copped me a pack of Doof beats. After we had him on the show, he was doing some live producing, and I liked what he was doing. And I say it was good with one little piece he was doing. He said, all right, I'll send you a couple of things. So Doof is interesting because he'll give you a live version of it. That's how you pick the beat. So he'll play it like he's playing it, when he does on his Instagram lives and stuff like that. And he'll send you pieces of that. The issue with that is it could be manipulated in your memory of it because you're hearing it live through the thing. So when you get the beat, and that's a whole nother experience, and you're like, oh shoot, it's even doper than I thought it was because I heard it, live. He didn't send me an MP3 sample of it. And so we had about 3 joints, I think, give or take. Yeah. The production as a whole on the new Shrapnel record didn't lend any spaces for Doof style. Those songs were just, they just weren't with the theme. For some reason, it wasn't like they were worse or slower or faster. It was just like something about putting them up with the other production that we have. So then me and Prem were like, all right, we need to find, because these are good songs. So we need to find a good home for them.
Do you consider yourself a disciplined guy? Do you get up every day and work?
Oh, I try to get up every day.
Check 1, 2. Yeah, nah. Yeah, but nah.
Merry band of bandits trying to use up all your bandwidth, seal the deal. I'll heal you real to real, just let me choose the bandage. Step up to the sandwich stand like, dude, what's the damage? Peru's like I blew a fuse in a borrowed Buick in Peru. Now you just gonna let me use this hammock as a muse, or is it too outlandish? Creature of habit, man of leisure and feverish practice. It sees through the speaker, but I can see that.
And we actually didn't think about it. We there's always an EP possibility when we work on Shrapnel, like we did with the first record. But we didn't think those songs would go there either. And so it was interesting because we all knew that these songs should exist and be released because we've been talking to our label about it, those songs in particular, but we didn't know where. So when Steel's Kitchen came up, we were like, oh shoot, we can put them right here. Bang. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, veering off. So Mario Brothers, I remember the beat throwing me off when I heard it. Like when I heard it finally live at Dove's, we were playing it out loud. And I wanted the song to go into that. So if you listen to the lyrics, we're kind of like under the influence, saying a lot of things and doubling back on them. You're listening, you're like, does that make sense? Did they really say that and shit like that? Because the beat was kind of leading you that way. And we thought that was like a nice little curveball for shrapnel listeners and stuff. So sorry for the long explanation.
I remember when you sent it to me and I was like, this is fucking weird.
Yeah, it makes you feel like
and
a little uneasy.
Go. I was
some
like,
inner ear shit. And
first
not
I was like, is this good? Like, what is this? And then hearing it a lot now, it's definitely like it's my favorite rhyming on the whole record. Like I love Prem's verse. I love you. I mean, I love it. Both of you guys are going on. Fuck that. This shit is hard.
Yeah, no, this shit's really good.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right, so Shaman Shadow wants to know, he's got a few questions, so we can hit these somewhat quick. Do you feel that you went outside of your comfort zone with some of the beats and tempos?
No, I don't know if anybody's been paying attention to me and Zilla in particular and Wrecking Crew as a whole. We go a lot of different ways with our soundscapes. I don't think you could really box us in. I think there's a certain level of quality with our production choices, but I don't think you could sit there and say like, oh, we all do trap, or we do drill, or we do boom bap, or we do drum and bass. I think we touched on a lot of that. Maybe not drill, but I think we've touched on, we dabbled in a lot of stuff. So there's no beat mountain too high for us to climb. I think we've always been adept at the challenge. I think our egos help in the sense that if we find something and my flow don't work, then Prem will work. Or if Prem don't work, there's like that ego don't get in the way of like cramming stuff together so the song don't work. So I just think we're adept at all those stuff. So I don't think there was no stretch. So you think there was a stretch on the record?
No. I mean, to me, it always makes sense just because I know what historically, like way before people were paying attention to us like they do now, we never said no to shit. Like honestly, like, we weren't like, nah, that's too weird. Like, nah, I can't handle that.
We never were too much in a certain zone where we wouldn't try out. We got songs about vampires. Like, give me a break.
Yeah, like so many weird fucking tempos and all that shit. Yep. So it's like people catching it now may have heard like a more digestible song or two from any of us to hear something like that where they're like, oh shit, okay. But nah, it's
yeah, go check out Philly Crime featuring Elucid.
Ooh,
blow your brain. Yep. GC. Are you with me?
That shit is crazy.
All right, so he also wants to know what time is it though, and how long have I been here?
Where does it come from? What is that?
Okay, so the song is supposed to make you feel like you're under the influence of whatever. Take that where you want. You can listen to some of the lyrics. It might tell you this, it might tell you that, but just, fuck it. All right, this song's about doing shrooms. And so, so like at times when you're doing shrooms in particular, you're not losing time, but you might just be like, how long have we been doing this? How long have we been having this conversation? Like, what's going on? And I thought what was one of the strongest sonic moments of awareness is a Chicago Bull intro. And what time is it? That just came to me. Game time who? So to me, when I'm shrooming and I do say to myself, how long have I been here? What time is it? I hear Cliff Livingston in my head. What time is it? Like Randy Brown did about here, Cliff Livingston. So I said, I gotta put it in the song. So that's what that is.
So the final question would probably be better for Prem, but and it sort of taps into one of my favorite bars of the whole record. He wants to know if microdosing versus macrodosing, which is better and why?
Well, now that the cat's out the bag about what the song is, Mario Brothers, Mario them trace those mushrooms and shit.
Yeah.
Mushrooms is a matter of preference and I think tolerance. So I think your first experience, you should macro, like take a good piece of a mushroom. You never want to do something and think like, hey, did it do anything to me? And like not know if the experience happened or not. Because usually what happens is something did happen to you. You don't recall it in your normal faculties. And then when you do it the second time, you're like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? That's just the truth. Your body goes, whoa. But I think do it the first time, do a good amount so you can feel the solomins. I probably pronounced that wrong. And then after you'll figure out that mushrooms for me work good with the microdosing. Taking a little piece and stretching out the effects over a period of time. That's my opinion. I don't know exactly what Prem would say.
But
I'm being honest. I haven't done it in a long time, probably because of this.
Do you like to go big, go hard? You like to
go big, like, every once in a while, just like a handful, just and then see what happens, and then get lost. Like, I kind of like adhere to the Hunter S. Thompson of it's going to be like one of those long nights of lots of internal
debauchery.
Searching. Yeah.
And hopefully a desert is near so you can just wander.
Exactly.
Like, hopefully a desert. If the desert is not near, then you're walking through somebody's neighborhood. But if a desert is near, you can do the Zilla.
And at some point it turns on you. You just it's going to turn on you and it's going to get deep.
It's going to
figure out a lot about your life.
It might get scary, but if you're ready for it, if you're ready for it,
it might take you a month to psychically recover. But
yes, you're like, I'm not doing that again. Zilla.
I have no experience in this, so
no. Here's your parallel. Was it better to get like blackout drunk or buzzy?
I only get blackout drunk when I drink tequila, and where the next day I'm like, where the fuck did I park my car? What time did I get home? Why is there like an empty pint of like Twix ice cream next to me? What the fuck is happening? I don't, it's not a good feeling. But then I realized I only learned recently that means I was drinking like really, really trashy, like bottom shelf tequila, whereas like really good mezcal and tequila does not get you bang the fuck up.
Smash hammered. Okay.
Yeah, where I truly don't remember like chunks of time.
Well, look, good quality moonshine gets you jacked no matter what. I'll tell you that much.
Sure. Yeah. I haven't done a lot of moonshine, to be honest with you.
But I've done moonshine. So everybody has like some homemade jar, and it's you sip slowly.
Yeah,
I'm good. Slowly.
I'm good.
All right. So Big Ren SD says that his favorite track is Broken Hand Style. The energy is infectious. Any more Wrecking Crew tunes in store for that pace and energy?
Alaska, I think we're going for that on Cargo Cold. It's like faster shit, right?
Yeah, we got that in Cargo Cold, and then Castro and I just recorded something.
I heard that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's old
today. Actually,
It got some old school energy to it.
Yeah.
And then,
I like my beats with the big old bass.
Yeah, and then Chong Wizard started sending me new Midnight Suns beats, and we're trying to go like more jazzy with it, more up tempo, and then the new Career Crooks record definitely in that vein, which is more. I think all of us. I mean, like we said before, man, like all of us have done so many fucking styles of faster rap and double time and slow.
It's in service to the record. At this point, we've done many styles of stuff we do because of. Thinking about it now, I didn't think about it, but like, yeah, there's some faster paced new shrapnel joints, but also Prem's like absolutely rapping faster. He hasn't done that on shrapnel yet.
True.
On my record, it's not. My record, I don't know if anybody remembers. My record is pretty even tone. Oh, I do. Yeah, I do.
On the new one,
the new one, it's a pretty even tone throughout. But one of the songs is like double time
and sketch.
Yeah, and sketch. Drum and bass, yeah. So that's true. So yeah, I think to answer the question, it's in service of the record.
Yeah,
whatever's in service of the record.
So then he has a follow-up question: what lessons learned with Raheem's Lament that were applied to putting together Steel's Kitchen?
Cool. I'll jump in with this. That one was more like that was more just like Castro said at the beginning. It's just kind of like the
it was an assignment.
The deluxe appetizer to be like, hey. More people right now are listening to us than they ever did before, and they may have heard of us through Backwoods. They may only heard of us through Alaska. Or they may only heard of us through like live shows or the podcast, whatever. So that was more just kind of like let's put something together that's it's like an intro to here's what's going on, here's what we've been up to, here's who we are, And this one was more, I think that one had a couple of songs we made specifically for that. But like we said, also introduced like Blue Edwards, like Paul Pierce Stab Wounds, which ended up on that record, and other songs that were like older. I kind of like touched up and put them on there. But this one was like, let's make something exquisite and fresh. And we had a lot of excess material, but they weren't cutting room floor joints because they were trash. It was just they didn't fit certain other records. And then we also like, let's put in newer songs as well, specifically because everyone like I said, like when I first heard Mario Brothers, I was like, yo, this is how I was really confounded. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then once I started sitting with it more, I'm like, this is actually insane. And like, here I am, 2 months later, like it's my favorite rapper on the whole shit. But that type of record needs to be out. You know what I mean? Like, because it's ill, the same way like Griff remixing Vamoose out of nowhere, and we built a whole song in a week before people even heard the original. Like, that needed to be on there. So now, whenever we do the next compilation, it's going to be in a similar vein of like only the best shit from everybody we're around, and we'll probably get newer people too, which, like Castro said, is always fun to kind of pull in newer names and faces. Maybe people not even on the show, who knows? But I think Raheem was just kind of like, fuck it, let's just put it out. And because the response was so crazy, we were like, all right. Castro came up with the Steel's Kitchen name like super quick after that shit. So there you go. That should answer that shit.
All right. And finally, sorry, did you want to say something, Castro?
No, I was saying, yep.
Okay. Yep. So Def C wants to know, how do you score who had the best verse on the song points on the tape between Castro, Zilla, and Prem?
Well, I'm bailing on the tape, so.
Yeah, Castro's like Jizza. He's just like when he shows up.
I'm literally like I think I have the least bars.
2,
I have the least appearances on the
3,
tape. If I'm not mistaken.
4, 5. No, you're on 5 joints.
But the 98 Clue, I have like small bars. And for anybody that doesn't know the math of Shrapnel, Prem raps way longer than me all the time. Yeah. So like, I'm not saying it as a diss. I'm just saying if you would line up, I have the least amount of bars on this record per se. So I would lose on those points alone. If we're keeping score.
I mean, Prem's the winner.
Yeah, Prem's destroying.
Prem's
the destroyer. Yeah, he's like, Prem, like, wait till y'all hear his solo. Wait till y'all hear the new Shrapnel. It's real. Again, I'm saying this is my man. Like his pen is destructive.
What do you hear with this fucking guy? This Bourbon Generals. We only make these songs when we link up, but. I mean, Alaska was the last session, but Prem just he said something on the one we just did where he said something like waiting for tomorrow to hit. You're late for your Sbarro shift. I'm like sitting there, I'm like, how do you think of that shit, man? That shit is crazy.
He's the greatest. No, but his pen is really on some diamond cutter shit. I'm telling everybody.
He was higher than the body count on Spice One tapes.
Like Spice One tapes.
I was like, you won.
Higher than the body count on Spice One tape. But then you won too, saying the Rushmore joint. There's no Rushmore without me, dog. I'm Max Fisher.
I'm Max Fisher. No,
you could carve your personal Rushmore rap figures. There's no Rushmore without me, dog. I'm Max Fisher.
There it is.
That's game over.
There it is.
Game over.
I was pretty proud of that one.
My memory messed it up. I was like, did he say he's Jason Schwartzman? No, he didn't say that. Yeah. But he did. No, but there's a lot of good bar work on the record, ladies and gentlemen. If y'all haven't heard it, go listen to it now. Go cop it. We still have some special edition copies left, but they're going fast. Isn't that what people say?
Let me say this, because no one has said they like Atlas Obscura, which is totally fine. But I want to say I wrote that verse while my family was in the supermarket, like before Thanksgiving, getting all the items. I just sat in the car.
You left them in the. You didn't.
I was like, I'll just wait in the car. They're like, we gotta make sure we get the fucking kid, the yams and all this stuff. Like, I'll just wait here. Totally fine. It's like I looked at my watch. I'm like, I probably got about 40 minutes. And I put that beat on, and I was just fucking writing that real quick in the car on my little notepad app. They came back, and I'm like, all right, cool. We got to go set up the house for Thanksgiving. Okay, cool.
Now, why did that album song not make Vegas Vic or
Disco Vietnam Barry. He made the beat and then he cut the song off the album. I was like, all right,
gotcha.
So shouts to Barry. That was his decision.
That one's in my top 3. So
yeah, I like this. No, my favorite song is Flower Bed. I love it.
That's actually my top.
The instrumental piece at the end, Fresh Kills, he killed it. No, and actually Prem co-produced that. That's
really?
Yeah.
It's got a real like Smith and Wesson feel to the production.
Yes.
Yeah.
So mine are basically Flower Bed, Atlas Obscura, and Sanford and Son Ra.
I like Flower Bed and Broken Hand Style. Poets Who Last has a special place for me because there's Alaska. First of all, I tried to cut myself off the song about 3 separate times.
Yeah, you did. Like up until before we had to.
Like I was trying to take my shit off. That's what I kept telling them. That's my 4th edit.
Why did you want to take it off?
So first of all, that's not even that's the 4th version of that verse. And to me, I was getting to a point where I was like, it's not what I'm trying to do is not coming off ill. It's just coming off. And so like I had to work on the Mingus line because he really did get evicted and he pulled out a gun on people when they came to try to tell him get out of his place. So all that stuff just took me a while to work out. I'll say that. And so because of that, I was willing to fall on the sword like, yo, just take me off there, put Zilla on there. I'm whack as hell on there. It's not working. And it's funny because when I first got the beat from Duke, I wrote that verse real quick. So I'm thinking I thought I was the shit, talking about Poseidon and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, I got it. And then Prem did his, and I was like, oh, I don't got it. And then I had to change the whole first half. Oh my god!
When you say Mr. Machida with the army jacket line, and come on, they have to cut that, man. Don't be
that. But that is the 3rd version of that line. It was. I was trying to say Keon first couple of ways. Yeah, it was hard. I was trying to say Keon Machida. It was very hard. Yeah. So, but yeah, that verse came a long way. So I was ready to cut that shit. Then Zilla put his verse on there, which wasn't the original plan, but it came to fruition. Then we got Marcus Penn, shout out to him, to put the ill scratches on there. And I was like, oh my God, like this song is way better than I thought it would ever be because my first ideals of it had like a ceiling to it.
Oh, and the best part was when I asked Marcus to do the cuts, and I was like, yo, you got to do some Steels joint. And he was like, I just watched that movie last week. And Juice is the movie that made me become a DJ. He's like, of course I'll do that shit.
Wow. Look at that with the DJ competitions. And the funny thing is what he scratched on the song, Smalls interpolated into his pieces. And they didn't know they were doing that. Like they did that independently themselves.
Gotta get it right, buddy.
Right, buddy.
Yeah. Is there any more listener questions?
No, that's it.
Okay, so I want to sum some of them, and we can kind of close with this. The Scorsese feature on Sanford and Son Ra.
Yes.
Yo.
Mr. Beelzebub, now here's the rub. Our thoughts are kind of similar. I dream about an animal. You shitting on 10 members of 666, skinny pimps, your baby rapper, penniless. My anti-matter limitless. Your anti-life equation, I'ma solve it. You're novice. Place the project pack, break your bondage. Murderers and robbers, like red box to fathers. A gold on force for Akina, and the product priceless, like Biggie Smalls mic checks.
So Dan O at Free Music Empire, he did a breakdown of the song, and he pointed out what I love so much about Scorsese's verse, where he says "murderers and robbers." That shit. How did you? I think that beat you asked me to be on originally.
Did I? Yes.
It was a beat at me, and I was like, "Nah, fam, I can't handle."
So this is my man Dose 4G Dub, Australia's finest, and he always sends me a pack, and I get busy. I really try to get busy. He's done some of my great songs, More Than a Plano, and others. So I had this beat, and I was like, so Alaska. The funny thing, I knew Sanford and Son came to my mind immediately. Like immediately. I don't know if it was the twang. Burn. I just remember it was like Rollo in the front yard. Because Sanford and Son, I love the show, but if you don't watch and pay attention, you miss some things like they're in LA. They live in a junkyard. And then the front yard is a junkyard. And there's a car out there. Like stuff like that you kind of miss being inside, it's a bottle of shows, being inside that apartment all the time. So I hearing them burn. I said, oh man, this is Lamont. This is Rollo and Lamont getting on Sanford's nerves. That's all I thought about. So I said, boom. I said, all right. So once I had that idea, I said, yo, Zilla, what's up? And I sent it to him. He was like, oh, nah, dog. Like, I don't even remember what he, but he was just like,
nope.
He's like,
Can't
nope.
do it.
So I was like, all right.
Respectfully decline.
And at that point, I just had maybe like my first couple of bars or whatever. So I came up with that hook. The hook is a tribute to Mac Homie. If anybody picks up on how, that makes sense. But it's a tribute to Mac Homie. So I was like, all right, I like this. I like this a lot. So I wanted Scorsese on it. And this is when he was still living and still with us in the land of the living. And I had to work his rap muscle to get what I wanted out of it. So that piece that you hear is literally his third verse he wrote for it. And I got an idea. I was like, I need it more truncated. I need more bang for the buck in a shorter time. So instead of doing the 16, I say, give me an 8. Because I knew if I got an 8 from him, I wouldn't have to worry. And this is not a bad thing, but he wouldn't do any setup lines. He would just give me 8. Each bar would be heavy. He wouldn't give me like bar 11 to set up bar 12. You see what I'm saying? Like he wouldn't even bother with that. No frills. And he said, oh, prices like Biggie check, like Biggie Smalls mic checks, right? And so I was like, whoa. And that will, because the other ones, there was a clash going on between style and substance. So one, I didn't really like the content, but he was styling that fuck out.
Yep.
Then the second one, I told him, gave him my notes. So then he wrote it. He wrote 2 verses on it. And one was a lot more style and substance. The second one, it was a lot more substance than style. Literally, I don't know if he was writing with two faces on or whatever. So then I told him what I liked out of both of them, but I asked him, and I laid the verse. I put everything together. I was like, I don't know. And I felt bad because I was like, am I asking my friend to do too much just to get this out? But I was like, no, I want him on this and I want it to come out the way I want it. So I'm going to be, I'm going to be a little stringent with it. So I said, no, give me another piece, but give me 8 bars. And I felt like giving him that instruction would make him focus and write more Megaton shit. And that's exactly what it is. I said, give me that same style from the first one. Same way you style him, but give me 8 bars. And that part is amazing. I know me and Fatboy Sharif, we have more bar work, but his piece in the middle really ties it together. And I don't know why that 8-bar instruction made him. I was thinking like Master Killer. That's what I was thinking of. Like
what's
that
the
type
Project
of
Pat line he says in there.
He
says some Project Pat
he
shit.
does say Project Pat in there.
So I thought you were telling him to do like Project Pat shit.
Again, that might have been part of the instruction, but it was just like the style. I don't know if I said Project Pat, but he had developed that style with the first draft.
Oh,
so I wanted him to keep that style, but I wanted something, a little bit more viscous, if you will. And that shit is amazing. And then I just, me and Fatboy Sharif, we got close over the pandemic. That's when we first started talking. Before it hit, he had called me out the blue, and I like it. I love his style. So the beat fit him, and especially after Zilla left me at the altar. I was like, I need some interesting voices.
We didn't even get to the altar. I did.
Nah,
we didn't even go on a date. I was like, that's over.
We went to elope, and I was just waiting at the airport, and he sent somebody with a note, and and so then I was like, yo, I'm gonna get Fatboy Sharif on this. And this was originally gonna be on my solo. It was actually lined up for my solo for a while, mainly when it was me and Scorsese. Okay. When I got Fatboy Sharif on it, and I finally got the hook the way I wanted and all that stuff, and our brother passed, I said, no, I'm just going to release this by itself, like to give it its space.
Right.
And then again, this is one of those things when Steel's Kitchen came up, I said, wait, it might really go well here.
Yeah. Right. Because the whole idea of it, which we didn't say at the beginning, was that, and this was conversations Scorsese and I had, which I've probably said on the show before, the whole genius of like Rock La Familia, all that shit, Tupac, All Eyes on Me. It's like when these projects come around, the bullhorn gets sound where it's like, yo, everybody's best shit goes to this. All of it gets funneled in. So when I heard Sanford and Sumrod, the original beat, I didn't understand that. I couldn't grasp how I could even approach that shit. When I heard the final version with Sharif and Scorsese, I was like, it has to be on this, like right now. It doesn't mean Castro's album, my album, everyone's albums ain't this shit, because they will be. But like, this is the best shit we got. This is the best song we have. It has to go here right now. Like that was the biggest switch compared to Raheem's Lament, which was like, let's just put something together that we fuck with. This one was like, no. All these joints are powerful. They have to be locked into a certain caliber of quality. And so even hearing that song, the final version, I was grateful we got to put it on this. You know what I mean? Because like it wouldn't have been lost on Castro's solo later, but that's later. You know what I mean? Like this is now, today, in May, June, and it can come out. And while Scorsese, we can still keep that going as long as possible. And I love it. And the best thing is like hearing him on that. I think we said it probably during a tribute episode, and a lot of people have said it. Like the fucking dude, you know, I think about him a lot. He was such an amazing student of rap, and so humble to keep. He did it for my record on Vegas Vic. He gave me like 3 or 4 versions, 3 or 4 iterations. You know what I mean? Like I don't do that for people. Like I wouldn't. I'd be like, here it is. Here's my one attempt. You know what I mean? And I'll make a little change. I personally wouldn't do that. I'm like, nah, I don't. He would just do it. And any type of beat, he could figure it out, you know? And like, he was fearless with that shit. But he was also like hardworking enough to be like, I'm going to keep chipping away at this till I get it the way you
never taking it personal.
Nah,
it never was like an
that's
issue.
That's a big skill, man.
Yes.
Like, that's huge. And so hearing him on that type of shit, like I was kind of joking to somebody. I was saying when we listen to Steel, I was like, yo, Castro keeps us weird, bro. Like I would literally, like I wouldn't pick Mario Brothers beat. I wouldn't pick Sanford and Son Ra beat. I probably wouldn't pick Broken Hairstyle, and I love Dove. But I'm like, I wouldn't go for those joints. But when Castro picks them and then Prem gets on board with it, or you know what I mean? Like there's a certain piece where you're like, yo, we need that element next to Guy Fieri, which is just
some straight
like
lace.
80s. That's just like to me, like doing some 80s like big boom rap shit next to
Guy Fieri shirt because the shit is flames.
Yeah, like that's just Alaska
goofing
with it. You know what I mean? Like that was Alaska did that to a totally different track. I remixed it.
But that's what I'm saying with the 6-sided die. Like Shrapnel, we have a certain bend.
Right.
Like you'll hear us on traditional stuff. There's definitely traditional stuff that we rock. Like Hubris on the first EP, or even Nitty at the Drew. But we definitely have a certain bend. Y'all hear it on the new record. We can't even get away from it with different producers. It's just
you can't.
Certain.
And honestly, like to tie it into Sound Bomb 2, and I guess we could wrap it up. It's just like Sound Bomb 2, like we said, can have Sir Menelik next to like Diamond D, next to Thurston Howell, next to Eminem.
Yes.
You know what I mean, next to Coco Bees, your favorite, next to Bahamadia. Like there was so many different things happening versus like the later era Raucous, when it was like everything was a little too neat and a little too polished and a little too wary of like, oh, this could hit the BET afternoon demographic.
Right.
And then this song is Nate Dogg and Rockwilder. And then this song,
the fact that Kool Keith fits comfortably on these joints, and Kool Keith always stands out.
Sir Menelik's on.
But but y'all know what I'm saying. Like they stand out without even trying. But these were good, safe sound beds for them to exist in. You didn't feel out of place.
Having Crosstown Beef, which is top 5 Raucous song of all time,
but it's a typical hip hop
project as Patriotism, which is like,
that's what made that shit special. Patriotism and Crosstown Beef is like a by the numbers rap song. 12, I think it's 12 bars.
Right.
Hook. 12,
over that sample, that fucking
cadences are like just sort of like
that's definitely some Brooklyn shit. I'll say that much. Like Crosstown Beef is like A1. It's like a dozen eggs, Brooklyn. Like that's what Crosstown Beef is.
Yes.
And then Patriotism's like the most co-flow jukes type of fucking song ever made. You know what I mean? Like you can't with Big Len, with Len doing the scratches. Who's America? You know, like, and L talked about on the new episode with Mike about that shit. But it's just like, you know, so I think I'll be honest with you, like all the shit I listen to, cats don't get as weird as we do, and then they also don't nail like the straight ahead shit at the same time like we do.
Right.
I mean, like we have both of them. Yeah, like people either just go to straight ahead shit or just the slow shit or just the super fucking weird artsy disconnected from regular people shit. And
my problem with the weird shit these days, I ain't gonna hold y'all. They fucking with their flows too much now. So it's like, you could be weird, but you better be on that beat. Like I don't.
Well, you better be saying something nasty too, like to make.
Yeah, I mean all that, but I mean like, I think people pushing it in terms of like, that weird for weird sake shit. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. And that's just me.
That's some young people shit though, right? Like
there's some older cats doing it too.
Oh,
there's
really?
some older cats, and they're trying to make but I think they go in the realm of it's so cryptic, I'm coded or whatever. Like,
but you know what? Yeah, but none of that fucks with like Bruiser Wolf. Sorry.
Straightforward. Yeah.
It does it. It does, and then it also doesn't fuck with Lucid and Woods. So what are you doing? You know what I mean? Because Lucid and Woods are saying like some very factual, straightforward shit in an interesting way.
It's just slang the fuck out and poet it out. But they're saying stuff that look in the book. It's there. Like
Woods is giving you drug rap on par with some of the best drug rappers ever. He's just doing it in a way that's like off the beaten path.
Yep.
Good shit. I was correct. All right. Well, that's about it, man. Great questions, cool. Everybody. Everybody fuck with our IG.
Yeah. We got
what's our new IG?
Call Out Culture Podcast.
Bong. And then
don't forget about the Twitter.
YouTube,
Call Out Cult
Pod.
At Call Out Cult.
Man, leave some reviews, some likes, some subscribes. That would be wonderful.
Oh yeah, do that.
According to every other podcast, that really helps them out.
Everyone says I don't know if it does because
it has to do with the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah,
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. YouTube, you can really get into the weeds about like making sure your stuff bubbles to the top.
Oh, that's what's up. I mean,
like the like button, like YouTube like YouTube sends out emails. If the like button, like you have to hit percentages and all
hit
that.
the like button, people. Feed these other corporations and make them rich for us.
Exactly.
I'm with that. And then fuck with our Patreon. You get the episodes early. You get discounts on merch.
We actually have some
emails,
some exclusive songs coming up, right? Yep. Yeah. We got one from me. We got one from Alaska. Yeah, that should be right. Yeah, I'm saying that right? The next couple of weeks, that should be
Sure.
I know people like free stuff.
That's good shit. Anything else, boys?
Go get Steel's Kitchen. The physicals are being sooner than later.
Yeah, very soon. Very soon.
We have Prem Rock solo coming out at the end of this month.
Yes.
Let's get ready for that. We're gonna talk about that. We'll have more on the show, all that good shit. But
what do you got?
Go ahead, Alaska.
Griff and I are dropping our new record, Human Zoo, in mid-August.
Look at you!
All right,
wow, you finally have news after 90 episodes.
You know what it's like,
and I have also started recording my record with Ray West.
Yes, I've heard some of those joints.
You ever see when on Inside the NBA they go EJ's Nito stat
of the
sponsored by
no one.
That's a lot.
1990.
You got anything to promote? No. Until he does.
So I realized like I have a formula now that I plan to work until I'm done with school at least is right throughout the school year. And then once I'm done, just start recording everything. And then that'll sort of hold me over through the year because I'll have 3 or 4 projects.
There you go.
And then I can just start writing again. So that's sort of where I'm at right now.
Nice.
Very good. Look at you.
I like that. Yeah. I
got some balance.
That's
operations.
Fine.
That's dope.
And then my album Vegas Vic's gonna be out at some point in July as soon as the plant gets us the vinyl in hand. So July something we'll be dropping, and then me and Andrew got a record waiting for a couple more verses. It's pretty much done. The next week or 2 it'll be finished. So I might drop that August, September just to throw it out there. Fuck it, man. I came in together really quick. So shouts to Andrew. His album Pop 1967 is a shit. So peace everybody checking that joint. And then we got this record here. Some of these pieces are almost sold out too. So if you want to grab the physical Steel's Kitchen, it'll never be on streaming. So
so
where to go. WreckingCrew.bandcamp.com.
Yeah, so we're just trying to get y'all like the other thing about making this record is the year had passed and we didn't give y'all something. So we felt it was a certain obligation to be like, all right, we got to get something out to the people before more of the year gets eaten up.
Correct.
And so that's why we worked hard to get this project together, to get it sounding right, to get it looking right, and to get it to y'all, the people. So that was a big motivation too. And as you can see now, we got Wrecking Crew at the ass. Like he's saying, my solo's dropping in September. We got things in July, August.
Yep.
We're mashing out.
And then
mash out
by the end of the year, probably October, November. One of those, it'll be out.
And don't Don't do your Kansas City Shuffle and look left and think right. Might be a Wrecking Crew LP out there.
Might be a Wrecking Crew album, and then my album with Ray West. That's done. Alaska will have one. Griffith. It's a lot, man.
It's a lot.
A lot of fucking shit. Because we just work. We have fun. That's about it. Another incredible podcast in the can. Another great release to share and celebrate.
Getting close to 100 episodes.
Woo.
Yeah.
Getting close.
All right.
We gotta start figuring out what we're gonna do for that big.
We'll do a pizza party. We'll do a Zoom pizza party.
So we definitely might do that live watching and stuff. But all right.
Yeah, I think we should do that. I think that'd be a fun one.
All right, we'll make it happen.
All right, we'll make it happen.
All right, buddy.
Peace.
Peace.